So you're aiming for an 18 LPA role in Cloud and DevOps? This video is not about theory. These are real questions asked in a real interview for a Cloud and DevOps engineer position. 2 rounds, Level 1 and Level 2. Let's go step by step. Level 1. Foundational questions to check your day-to-day exposure. First, CI/CD workflow. What kind of pipeline have you built? What tools? Jenkins, GitHub Actions, Azure DevOps. What are the stages? Then comes webhooks. Do you know where and why a webhook is used? For example, GitHub triggers Jenkins through a webhook on every push. Next, shared libraries in Jenkins. How are they written? What's the folder structure? How do you define and call them in your Jenkins file? Then they ask, what kind of application do you deploy? This tells them if you've worked on real-world microservices, not just dummy projects. Helm questions start here. What is the folder structure of a Helm chart? What command do you use for deployment using Helm? Then comes debugging. Jenkins pipeline is green, but build is not happening. Why? Missing build step. Wrong stage trigger. Permissions. Kubernetes. Explain crash loop back off. Why does it happen? Image pull error. Wrong command. What command do you use to go inside a pod? What are the steps to create a Kubernetes cluster? What is a master node? What is a worker node? They ask for Terraform now. What's the code to create an EKS or GKE cluster using Terraform? Docker questions. What are the stages in a Docker file? What's the difference between entry point and CMD? Why do we use both? Which tool do you use to deploy containers? Which registry do you use to store Docker images? Do you use ECR, Docker Hub, or Nexus? Then level 2 was here. This is where they test real experience. First question, branching strategy. How do you manage your dev, release, and production branches? If the release branch breaks, how do you prevent it from blocking other teams? Production has a bug. How do you roll back? Can you do it without downtime? What's your typical deployment flow? How do you ensure full quality before releasing? What's in your Jenkins file? What are the stages? Do you use shared libraries in Jenkins? What's their structure? Security. Are you using image scanning? Which tools? Trivy, Claire, Aqua? Do you scan at registry level? Any extensions or plugins for that? How do you pass environment variables during Docker build? Do you store secrets securely? Using AWS Secrets Manager, Azure Key Vault. How do you authenticate into your EKS cluster? Then they ask, do you work with Lambda? How do you deploy a Lambda function? Where do the artifacts come from? Do you use S3? Do you use layers? Final, do you know Helm chart signing? Why do we sign charts? Which tool are you using? If you can confidently answer these questions with real examples from your project, you're ready for an 18 LPA plus DevOps role. But if these questions scared you, don't worry. We'll break each section into separate videos with visuals, real examples, and answers that work. Subscribe to InfinityAiTech. Next, deep dive into shared libraries, Helm structure, and EKS authentication, explained visually, step by step.